Hi, welcome to a news episode of Sports Talk Central. I'm your host, Adeep Mahmood, with my normal co-host, Hunter. And today we're going to be talking about Roquan Smith's extension, and also NFL playoffs, and we're going to briefly talk about the college football debacle that was championship game. So let's just start with the Roquan Smith extension. He signed a 5-year, $100 million deal with 45 guaranteed at signing, 60 guaranteed total. What was your thought when you saw that deal?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big extension. I know a lot of people are joking about, oh, that you pay Roquan but not Lamar, but it's just an apples to
We'll get to
oranges.
that. We'll get to that after the
Yeah, we
fact.
will. I think he deserves it. He's played very well since coming over from the Bears. I think he's one of the best inside linebackers in football. He really just reset the market, to be honest. I think they said it's the biggest
Yeah,
deal for an inside linebacker in NFL
by
history.
barely, but yeah, I think like Leonard, Shaquille Leonard, I want to say was he got like
Yeah,
90.
it's very close. Yeah, so he reset the market. I think that's probably going to be broken. Probably from sometime this offseason or next year.
Tremaine, maybe
Yeah,
Tremaine.
Tremaine Edmonds, I could see that for sure. Someone else maybe, but he deserves it. The Ravens, they gave up a decent haul to get him, but they're kind of in win now mode, and they needed another linebacker there, so they took the chance, and it's working out so far. So I'm fine with that extension. He's played really well this year.
Yeah, like here's the thing. So the Ravens defense gave up in the first 8 weeks, or first 7 to 8 weeks, 23 points per game. Since Roquan Smith came to Baltimore, they've given up 13 points per game. That's basically the impact he's made. So he's been that chess piece to allow Patrick Queen to be better off as a blitzer. Like there were points like Patrick Queen when it was him and Josh Bynes, Patrick Queen would just bite on routes. So remember that Steelers game where uh, Trubisky, not I think it was Trubisky, threw those interceptions. So
Yeah,
they
it was
were
the three.
yeah, so he did that. There would be those plays where Patrick Queen would bite and he would not sit in the middle of the field. But what Roquan allows you to do is he gives you that almost like Chuck Clark football intelligence thing where he can kind of go in there and he can kind of patrol the middle of the field. So he doesn't. So he does more of a thinking part. Patrick Queen does more of the action part. That's basically the best way to describe his impact. But yeah, well deserved. I mean, self-represented. Um,
Mhm.
second, second guy, the defensive guy that they've acquired in 3 years was Eric DaCosta, who gets an extension. Not even a season, not even within a year after they traded for him. First was Marcus Peters. My first takeaway is Marcus Peters is gone after the season. I think that they're going to
Mhm.
let him walk. Um, but I mean, it's well deserved, and we're gonna see what they do with Patrick Queen. They could keep him, but the obviously this does lead to the Lamar thing. Here's the thing about okay, so here's the thing. Lamar didn't. Lamar also said he was not going to negotiate during the season. So for everyone saying, oh, and there is a touchdown by the Vikings. So we're both watching the game as well as doing the episode. But so Lamar said he was not going to negotiate during the season. So for everyone saying why haven't they extended Lamar? Because Lamar himself said not during the season. So
That's right.
the Ravens are respecting his wishes. Second of all, I want to dispel a few things that the media is pointing out about Lamar's contract that no one is fact checking. Even people like Adam Schefter. There are three types of guaranteed money. If you're not on an expiring contract, there's three types of guaranteed money. The amount of guaranteed money left on your previous deal, the guaranteed money at signing, and then total guaranteed money. So for example, Kyler Murray, 100 like he got 189 guaranteed.
Yeah.
Out of that 189, 29 was a part of his rookie deal. 103 was guaranteed at signing, and an additional 57 was guaranteed over the remainder of the deal. So it is basically 160 total. Josh Allen, 100 guaranteed at signing. I forgot how much he had left on the rookie deal, but it was 100 guaranteed at signing, and an additional 50 total. Russell Wilson got 124 guaranteed at signing, 161 total. So I keep hearing people talk about, oh, Kyler Murray got 160 guaranteed, but Lamar got 133 guaranteed. Again, here's the problem. Kyler got 160 total guaranteed. Lamar got 133 guaranteed at signing. So that means there is an additional amount of guaranteed money that was offered to him that we don't know about. So let's get to the second part. So there's an article in NFL.com at the start of the season, and it highlighted the parameters of the contract. There's not a ton of exact numbers. It was 6 years. It was going to be more than Russell Wilson got annually, which is 49 million, but nothing too crazy, not like 54 million. So let's say 49 and a half, 50 million, somewhere in that range. He also supposedly got close to 68% guaranteed, which was the same percentage guaranteed that Russell Wilson got. So if we're going off the parameters of that, and this is from Ian Rappaport, from Tom Pelissaro, so these are from trusted sources, not the unlikable Peter Griffin that has a radio show in Baltimore from 2 to 6. So here's
wow, that's harsh right there.
that could be a lot more harsh than that. Like,
keep going.
Yeah. So my point being is, it seems like the contract the Ravens offered, based on those parameters, 6 years, about 297, about 185 to 195 mil guaranteed, was 133 at signing. That to me is what the contract was. Again, I could be wrong on the numbers, but based on those parameters, that seems to be the contract. So can they reach a long-term deal? Sure. You take the 6 years, drop it down to 5. Okay, so I think that's where the contract's going to be. Now, if Lamar was offered 60% total guaranteed, and you got the Players Association who are getting who want 100% guaranteed, and I would allow you to go and kind of comment on this before I'll give my counterpoint on the Players Association and why I think they might be doing Lamar a disservice. But pretty much, you're at 60% guaranteed. Players Association wants 100%. I think the Ravens should go in there and get around 75 to 80% guaranteed. I think because that's if what that reporting was true. If that reporting was true, and if it's Ian Rappaport, if it's Tom Pelissaro, it seems like it is true. That's basically they could find the middle ground. So that's what I just wanted to kind of say that about and also I do want to say this. If Lamar was holding out, he would have done so at the beginning of the season. It makes no sense for him
would
to
have pulled a Le'Veon Bell here, people.
Yeah. But what were your thoughts on this Lamar thing? And then I'll talk with the Players Association why they might be doing
it just seems like it's such a weird situation, right? He's going out of his way to tweet about it, and then the media asks John Harbaugh, and he's like, "Oh, I don't really know what you're talking about," and stuff. And like, I think some people are just playing coy with it, like they're being careful about what they can say versus what they cannot say. I mean, I think there's a real shot that he's played his last game.
Yeah.
As Raven, I know you were texting me this week, Adi, you might even be open to a potential trade involving him if the Ravens can get a pretty good haul back.
I like Lamar, but 200 and something million, that could change my mind because you got to keep in mind rookie contract versus 200 plus guaranteed.
Yeah, and it's never been a question about cap space. I mean, you're going to have to any team that is good has to pay a quarterback that is obviously very good. So that's not a problem. It's just coming to terms with these negotiations because they tried so hard during the offseason up to training camp. They didn't get it done. You had to pause it. It's just what makes the fan base confident that this can resume in good faith whenever the season comes to an end, whether that's tonight, whether that's next week, or maybe they go on to win the Super Bowl and Lamar comes back or something like that. Just like are you confident that the talks will resume in good faith after the season is over? Because March is around the corner. Funny enough, there's only a month and a half to go. Free agency is 2 months away total, I believe. You have the deadline to file for a franchise tag. Just what are your overall thoughts on that?
One, remember we just talked about Roquan Smith getting into his extension agreement.
That's true.
He's a self-represented guy, so they were able to get that. So second thing, I do feel confident that they can get it done because and also Saquon Barkley big run games time. But Yeah, so there's 3 reasons why. One, Greg Roman is on the last year of his
Oh
contract.
wow, Saquon Barkley just holy
Yeah,
crap.
yeah, I just watched it on my phone. But Greg Roman, he's out after this year. His contract's up. I don't know. I don't even think a Super Bowl run is going to save his job because they parted ways with Wink last year. So I think they're going to, and they got a long-term option. I think they're going to go long-term with the offense coordinator. That's reason number one. Reason number two, they extended Roquan. So the thing is, there were 3 main dominoes to fall for Lamar's extension. Are you incredibly do you really need to keep Marcus Peters? They're going to let him hit free agency. Are you going to keep Greg Roman? It seems like they're going to part ways with him. Were you able to get a contract done with Roquan Smith? Yes, you were. So it seems like all the dominoes that needs to fall for Lamar's extension to be fully focused on Lamar's extension are there. So, and I do think they know who the replacement is for Greg Roman. They're going to run an Here's what I think. They're going to run an investigation. They're going to run an interview process. They're going to interview T. Martin. They're going to interview James Urban. They're going to interview a few others. Then they're going to interview Matt Weiss, the Michigan offensive coordinator who was with the Ravens from 2009 to 2020. Then they're going to say he's the favorite. They're probably going to interview someone else. And then they're going to name Matt Weiss as the offensive coordinator, much like how they did with Mike McDonald last year. So I think you're going to see something along the lines of that happening. So so I do feel confident they will. And then if the contract parameters that I were talking about earlier were true, there is a middle ground. I think that you could take the 6 year, move it down to 5, make it a 50 to $51 million a year contract, move the 133 guaranteed signing to 150, get the total guaranteed up to 215. So then that puts it at 84% total guaranteed, which would then set the market for total percentage guaranteed minus Deshaun Watson. Total annual value, that will set the market, especially for someone of Lamar's age. And then the third one is number of guaranteed money at signing. Without Deshaun Watson, he would have the highest amount. It would have to be something like that. At the same time, I could also see them trading him, but I don't think they're going to find the trade partner. And especially with Greg Roman potentially exiting and looking for a long-term option, I don't think they're going to want to go into next season with a new quarterback and a new offensive coordinator. I think they're going to intentionally go choose one or the other. I think they're going to let Roman walk. I think they're going to do everything they can to keep Lamar, and which then leads me into the Players Association aspect of it. I understand the Players Association felt gypped by the way that the CBA negotiations went. They wanted fully guaranteed. They didn't get fully guaranteed. Why they didn't do like a floor of 70, like you have to guarantee 70% of a quarterback's contract and work your way up to fully guaranteed, I'll have no idea. My point being,
I don't think he was ever going to get like that Deshaun Watson contract. No offense, even though Watson never should have gotten in the first place for obvious reasons. But keep going. Sorry.
But my point being is, they have an overall goal of fully guaranteed, and they tried to do that in CBA negotiations, didn't work. Like I said, they could have done like a floor. They could have done like guarantee 70%, then 75, then the next CBA 80 and 85. Now, again, interestingly enough, we are seeing that percentage of the contract being guaranteed increase, because what was the percentage guaranteed average? What do you think it was in terms of the last CBA? 55% of the guaranteed at that point?
Think so. I thought I was going to say 60, but I don't even know if it's 60 either.
No, but I think it's closer to 60 now.
Yeah, it definitely is now for sure. If they were to do another CBA negotiation right now, they would probably push for even higher, to be honest.
Yeah. My point being is now it's at 60 naturally, right? As the market goes up, the percentage of the guarantees will go up. Yep. So the next CBA negotiations will happen in 2028. And heck, maybe quarterback contracts are 80% guaranteed at that point. The Players Association will be in a better position. So then let's talk. And then obviously they're suing the owners because the owners don't want to give Lamar a fully guaranteed contract, or they don't want to give anyone else a fully guaranteed contract, which tells me what their motives are. The fact that you have people saying that Lamar should hold out at the start of the season, and going on national media. And by the way, you know why ESPN, you know why those debate shows aren't talking about this aspect? Because they got former players right there. They are not going to touch that part of it. That is the elephant in the room there. My point is, this is a situation where the Players Association, my fear, what I hope is going on is they want Lamar to get fully guaranteed, strive for fully guaranteed, and then at the end kind of go back towards 85% guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I hope there. That's what I hope it is, because he would still end up in a good place in Baltimore. They're a consistent team. What I don't want is the Players Association to essentially hijack Lamar's negotiations and say we demand Lamar get fully guaranteed, because a fully guaranteed benefits them first and then Lamar second. So then Lamar would be stuck with a team like this, like maybe again, if the Seahawks take a step backwards next year, like a team like the Seahawks or a team that isn't so good, but he does get the money. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
he's in a, like, it doesn't benefit him. So I really hope that's not the case. And here's the thing. I don't know if the negotiation strategies are good here as well, because if Lamar holds out, then it shows he's about the money, which means I don't know if teams can trust him or not. And if he's and you got those same players saying he should hold out and while the Ravens are in a playoff race, which then makes Lamar look bad, which then makes teams less willing to give him fully guaranteed money. So again, what I don't understand with the Players Association is they're doing this backwards thinking it would work out, but it might not work out, because now you have there's a Barstool article. Ravens fans are talking about this from Barstool Banks. There's an article about how Lamar was missing treatment last year. There's Fox Sports was talking about Lamar and how they were saying how he should just strap up, like Michael Vick said, put on a brace and play. And now you got people in the media talking about Lamar's character. So now that's becoming a big thing, and obviously there's Sammy Watkins article that came out. The interview was done on Wednesday before Lamar put out that tweet, and it just seems really icky the way that this whole I feel bad for Lamar, because Lamar's contract situation, it just feels like Lamar's a lightning rod for narratives, like ever since he drafted, and then now it's just the narratives are now shifting. And he's stuck in the middle of it, because now before it was, oh, he can't play the position. Oh, he's not a long-term fit. And now it's, oh, he needs to get a long-term deal, but his character is being attacked. But what are your thoughts on this, on these headlines on Lamar, on the Players Association, and all of that? We'll go to the playoffs after.
Yeah, it just feels like the noise, I feel like it's only going to get even louder until something like breaks with it. And, this is what we had to deal with, and to a lesser extent, obviously, with Le'Veon Bell, time after time, year after year, with the negotiations and stuff. And then finally, obviously he left, and whatever happened. But this is the kind of stuff that happens, especially with someone who doesn't have an agent. He's looking for mostly guaranteed money. He's trying to reset the quarterback market again, even though Pat Mahomes just did it. Josh Allen just did it. Joe Burrow is going to be doing it very soon. I think he's going to be the next quarterback to do it. So he's trying, it's a lot of,
I think Hurts will. I don't know about the Bengals owner. Plus you have the Bengals Bengals aren't the most.
That's true. I know Mike Brown is not the biggest in terms of paying players, but I feel like he would for Joe Burrow. He would break the bank. Jalen Hurts, though, definitely agree with that. Justin Herbert, I think he will get paid by Dean Spanos.
Well,
he's never
about Justin Herbert and the Chargers.
We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But he's trying to reset the quarterback market. I know the Ravens owner has really never had to do something like this before, just because I don't think they've had a quarterback this good come through in quite a long time. Joe Flacco's Joe. I mean, Steve McNair, God rest his soul. He was, great. But, I don't, was he as good as Lamar is now? I would not argue that. But, it's just, if the Ravens lose tonight, which I think there's probably a fair shot that's going to happen because Tyler Huntley's playing. What do you think is going to happen on First Take tomorrow? First thing they're going to talk about. It's It dominates the news cycle. Stephen A. Smith, he thinks they should trade him during this offseason. Dan Orlovsky kind of said something similar, I thought, on First Take. It's just, I feel like you can never get actual true analysis on it because, these are just debate shows. They get headlines. It's clickbait. That's what it is. Colin Cowherd's probably the worst of them all. So, I feel like it's just going to get worse before it gets better, I guess is my long-winded answer. I apologize.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, if there's anyone that knows out of bounds, it's Dan Orlovsky. So let's just keep that in mind.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, but no, like Stephen A. Smith, Stephen A. Smith is just like, yeah, you're right. Like he's just a headline. He's just there to drive headlines. Like same thing with Skip. Same thing with it's just I avoid all of that stuff. I try to avoid all of them because it's the same script over and over and over again. And the script again, you have to judge the motive by which they're being written. Like we don't hear from the Ravens side, we hear from the players' side. We hear from the players' perspective. So it is going to be an interesting thing. So talk about the NFL playoffs. Yesterday we had the 49ers advance beating the Seahawks. That game looked close, but they pulled away pretty quick. The Chargers were charging. And then before the show, right when the show started, the Bills won a close one against Miami, and right now the Giants are.
It's a good game right now with the Giants and the Vikings. I think the Vikings are very fraudulent, but yesterday that first game, good first half, and the 49ers woke up and decided. Yeah, Saquon is just awesome. There are a lot of people that gave up on Saquon Barkley last year. I hope those people are feeling really stupid right now because Saquon is just unreal. That first game yesterday, though, great first half. Geno Smith was cooking. Pete Carroll was looking pretty good. And then the 49ers decided to wake up in the second half and realize that, we're also very, very good. In my opinion, I think the 49ers are going to get to the Super Bowl this year. They've been very, very close these last couple of years. I know they got there just a few years ago with Jimmy Garoppolo. They were just a few minutes away from winning it. Last year, they were a few minutes away from going back to the Super Bowl. Kyle Shanahan is a very good coach. I know, 28-3. He gets conservative, but you cannot deny he is a very good coach, and he's getting the most out of his team right now. I think even with Brock Purdy playing, oh, wow, nice touchdown by the Giants. Is that Darius?
Hodges.
I thought it was going to be Kenny Golladay for a second. But, I understand Brock Purdy, Kyle Shanahan, the people have memes and stuff, but I think this is the most complete team in the NFC. I think they could go to Philadelphia and beat the Eagles. I really, even with a healthy Jalen Hurts, I think the 49ers can definitely do it. Oh, yeah. They looked very good in the second half. I also will say that second game yesterday, if I can just turn my light on here. There we go. Sorry about that. Makes it a little more light. Just what a collapse by the Chargers. But also, it is a classic chargering. How many times have we seen some chargering before?
Oh, with special teams? Yes. With special teams included? And with bad kicking? Absolutely.
Yes. This was, it's close to the 28-3, but this was the third largest comeback in postseason history. I think right behind the Andrew Luck comeback against the Kansas City Chiefs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
They just took the foot off the gas pedal in the second half. Brandon Staley refused to adjust to what Doug Peterson adjusted to from the first half, and made some really costly decisions.
In the second half, if I wasn't mistaken, they only ran the ball 7 times in the second half, if I'm not mistaken.
Very stupid. Yeah. Staley called a great first half defensively. But when Peterson adjusted, he didn't adjust back to it, which really cost him. I also think, remember, he went for the field goal in that second half. Usually he goes for it. All the analytics people, and I'm not trying to crap on analytics here, but all the people that are really into it, he always goes for it. Then why did he get conservative there? He's big into it. Why did he live in his fears there? I feel like he should have went for that. I just don't think Brandon Staley is that good of a coach. He cost his team big time in this game. And honestly, coming into this game last week, playing his starters well into the second half against a 4-12 Broncos team.
Mike Williams.
What are you doing? Yeah, Mike Williams doesn't play because he got hurt in that game. Joey Bosa got nicked up. I don't even think he was 100% healthy going into this game. And we all saw what happened at the end of the game when he smashed his helmet. Just really poor decisions from Brandon Staley over this last week. And honestly, is he going to be the coach of this team next year? I just don't know if he's done enough to come back. Yeah, they could go after Sean Payton, and it's reported that Sean Payton does like that job a lot. I think that's probably the best fit for him because he can really develop Justin Herbert. But will they move on from him? I think that's the biggest question. What were your thoughts on this game? And just overall, what do you think of Brandon Staley?
Oh, he should lose his job. I don't like saying that about anyone, but this is a guy
I'll
that
say this: if that were John Harbaugh right there that blew that in that for the Ravens or something, would you say that Harbaugh should have to go?
I would say
It's close.
no. I would say no because Harbaugh has more experience than Brandon
Okay.
Staley. But the thing is, but here's the thing: Harbaugh is aggressive. He does go for it, but here's the thing with analytics, right? And it's a tool, and the best coaches that use analytics are the ones that can explain it. And with Brandon Staley, first couple years he makes these risky decisions. He's a young coach. He tries to be so innovative. He tries to be the rebel. He makes all these risky decisions, and some work, some don't. Obviously, it cost them the trip at the playoffs last year. So it's not a fireable offense, but he's one step closer to it. This lead, he should not keep his job because it was a 27-0 lead, and I know they missed a field goal, but you ran the ball 7 times, and you have to one drive. If they had one drive if they just scored 10 points, and that's 2 drives, they win the game, and they're preparing for the next round. But instead, they basically blew a lead. Because that's how bad it is. Because not only did they blow a 27-point lead, how many interceptions did Trevor Lawrence throw? 4, 5, 5.
4.
4.
Also, first team in NFL history to have a +5 turnover differential and lose a playoff game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They should have won that game. And look, they were 10. If they were 2 drives that led to points away from winning that game, and the fact that they didn't, it's not a good look for him. It's also not a good look for Joe Lombardi, who really only is credited because of his last name. But at the same time, is he going to be the one guy that goes? So I think you got to start fresh. I think the Brandon Staley experiment is not working out. It wasn't like he was a big time coach before. I mean, he was at a college. I forgot what college he went to, but it was very much Sean McVay. That was a young coach, and that worked out well. By the way, Sean McVay is going to be returning as the coach of the Rams next season. But that worked out well. But Cliff Kingsbury, who was fired this week, it didn't work out for him.
And he's going on a one-way trip to Thailand, apparently.
Yep. It didn't work out for Brandon Staley, so it's it doesn't getting these younger coaches doesn't always work. I think that the Chargers, especially if you have Sean Payton, especially even Jim Harbaugh, I would take. I would take either one of those two.
I'm curious to see what happens with him, especially, is he going to come back? He keeps flirting with it. It's just he's not.
I have a feeling he will. I have a feeling he will go to try to go for an NFL job, especially with the violations at Michigan. I think I think it was Pete Carroll. I think it might have been Pete. I think it was Pete Carroll that had those issues at USC, and then he just went to the NFL before the crap hit the fan there. But
yeah,
no, I think that they got to move on from Brandon Staley. And look, if there was no Sean Payton, if there's no Jim Harbaugh type coach, I could somewhat understand their argument, but of keeping someone like Brandon Staley for another year. But there is, and that's the truth. And if you can go and get one of those guys, and they do have interest, you got to show Brandon Staley the door. Now, if they do bring in Sean Payton, Joe Lombardi was the quarterback's coach for the Saints for a few years. Does he stay on as the offensive coordinator? So it's a catch-22 there. So if they do bring in Sean Payton, does Sean Payton keep Joe Lombardi because of their connections in the Saints? And look, they're Chargers fans that don't like Joe Lombardi. So It's going to be an interesting thing. I don't think. I don't know. I don't think Justin Herbert will ask for a trade because he just seems to be he seems to be a good human being, loyal guy. That being said, the thought does have to creep into his mind. Like he is going to have to get paid soon. And the Chargers seem to be sputtering right now. So that's going to be interesting with him. Then when it comes to the 49ers, Seahawks, nice story. Seahawks were a nice story. They at least got the number 5 overall pick. Let's see what they do with that with that pick.
Would you bring back Geno Smith next year? Did he do enough for you?
This is a tough question because you have Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Will Levis as what? Those are the guys you would think would be in the top 5 if they were like the quarterback.
Will both Stroud and Young be at 5 though? I doubt it.
Yeah, that's the point I was getting at. So,
sorry.
The point was Stroud and Bryce Young. You have no idea whether they're going to be there at 5. I think we both agree. Will Levis should not. He is not worth the draft hype. And then Anthony Richardson is too high of a ceiling. I don't know if the Seahawks are the right situation for him. So you really are put in a situation of if you do move on from Geno Smith, you're not getting Brady, you're not getting Garoppolo. Do you package the 5th overall pick and a bunch of others to Baltimore for Lamar? Maybe that could be a situation there. And then the Ravens then can have their pick. That's interest. That's something there. You still got Baker Mayfield, but I think you go Geno Smith. And I think the reason why you do it is there's no guarantee CJ Stroud and Bryce Young are going to be there at 5. So if you are not 100% certain one of those two or both of those two are going to be there at 5, Geno Smith helped you. He was good. He works in your system. And in 2024, here's the other thing though, Hunter. 2024, Caleb Williams is going to be there. A few other guys are going to be there. Spencer Rattler is going to be an option. Like the quarterback class 2024 looks really good. So if I was the Seahawks front office, I would keep Geno Smith, like almost like on a 3-year deal. 1 year, front load the money on that first year, and then keep him and then put it in a place where you could cut him after 2 years, pretty much. Like a 3-year deal is really a 2-year deal, but you could cut him after that second year. That way, you're protected in the event that Bryce Young or Stroud aren't there. But also, if you are in a position to go and draft one of those guys in the 2024 draft, then you still have a year. Geno can still be your backup, or that rookie quarterback could be the backup for a little bit, and you're protected. But what do you think on this? You think that they keep him?
It's close. I mean, he was good this year. He was given a shot. They had them in the camp. They gave him the quarterback competition. He won it fair and square. And let's face it, he played a lot better than anyone expected him to. I mean, this team was projected to win 4 to 5 games this year.
Probably, yeah.
They're projected to be a top 3 pick in the NFL draft. I mean, I know they have the number 5 pick just because of the Broncos.
Broncos.
Yeah, but like overall, imagine if they had only won 3 or 4 games, they probably would have had 2 top 5 picks right there, which would have been crazy. They probably would have gotten a quarterback right there. But, they will have their options at a really big impact player at next year's draft. But as you said, the Bears have the top pick. They're not going to take a quarterback. Justin Fields is their future. The Texans, I think, will. And then you have the Colts. They should.
Yep.
And then who's the other team? Who's the fourth one?
No, let me check. I believe Panthers. But...
I think it's it might be. I don't think it's the Panthers, is it? I don't think so. I know the Colts are. I think they have the number. Yeah, the number 2, number 3, whatever. Those are the top 3. I don't know who the number 4 team is, but whoever it is could look at it. He'll get it in a second. But I don't think those top 2 quarterbacks will be there. So I think with that said, and you look at the free agent.
No, is it right? Yeah. So they're saying NFL.com is saying it's Bears 1, Texans.
Bears 1, Texans 2, Colts 3.
I mean, I could I ultimately double check. I do think
Yeah.
I thought it was the Cardinals, but
Yeah, that actually would make sense. And as I was saying as well, if those two quarterbacks are gone by the time they pick, you can also look at the free agent class, which is going to be decided by then anyway. Are they going to go out and get Derek Carr? No. Baker Mayfield, but I don't think he would want to go there because I don't know if he would start right away.
top five picks are Bears 1, Texans 2, Cardinals 3, Colts 4, Seahawks
Okay,
5.
so yeah, I mean, and the Cardinals are not going to take a quarterback because they have Kyler Murray locked up. So it's all about.
Here's the other thing. I'll let you continue, but here's the other thing. Lions 6, Raiders 7, Falcons 8, Panthers 9. So that's your next 4, and those four teams could trade up as well.
Yeah, that's also very true. I would not be surprised of that. And but if they don't, the Bears they'll probably take Will Anderson or something. The Texans will take a quarterback. The Cardinals will not. And then you have the Colts. Do they go out in free agency and get someone, or do they draft someone? If they don't, and the Seahawks get one of those quarterbacks that's there, I think they have a really big decision on their hands if they want to draft one of those top rookies or roll with So I think it's a tough question. They're going to have a lot of. It's just. They have a tough decision on their hands because this is a good team. They have a lot of offensive playmakers. Kenneth Walker III is awesome. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Pete Carroll, very good coach. Offensive line is strong. Their defense is pretty good. But it's just, do you think this was a one-off or do you think he can continue to do this? Because I do think he has talent, but we've seen him play well in spurts in the past, and then he turns into a pumpkin again. So it's really tough to answer. I think they had a great year though, but it's going to be really tough.
They would also be in low expectations for next few years. So I guess he could, but yeah, I mean that's just from those games, and then obviously today's game, which was you had Bills beat the Dolphins 34-31. I thought that
Josh Allen did his best to give it away. I'll say that.
Yeah, so I mean, there really isn't too much to say about it. I mean, Mike McDaniel, poor clock management, but he is decent. He could be a
good job. Otherwise, I think scoring 31 with Skylar Thompson a week after you scored 9 points, well, 11, I should say, with the safety, is a very good job. You scored 11 on the Jets at home. You score 31 the next week. And I know Josh Allen helped you out a little bit with some turnovers, but the Dolphins still play a lot better than I thought they would in this game. I thought they were getting blown out. I was thinking, I wish the Steelers were in there, but no, I think the narrow margin of victory probably would have been more for the Bills, I should say. But this kind of game also just goes to show any given Sunday, right? Everyone's saying, oh, they're going to get blown out. They're leading in the fourth quarter. I mean, the Bills, Josh Allen did his best to give it away, but the Dolphins just couldn't, they couldn't get that big splash play to really take it from the Bills. And, this game right now with the Giants and the Vikings is already good. The Giants are at 14-7. I'll hand the floor over to you if you want to end it with a quick Ravens Bengals preview. What are you expecting from this one, Adit?
A lot of running, a lot of focus on the run. I mean, they're so right now the Ravens have one or two quarterbacks. Tyler Huntley, who has right shoulder tendonitis, so that's why he's not pushing the ball down the field. Anthony Brown can push the ball down the field. Tyler Huntley is more of a game manager, so he's more of a safer choice. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they alternate between those two, which is what the scouting report could be. It is going to be interesting because here's the thing, though, right? Because last year, I don't know if because of Wink's scheme, Burrow averaged over 430 yards each game, around 430 yards each game against the Ravens. This year, in the two games total, 427 total yards against Ravens. Mike Macdonald has done a really good job of defending it, and it's two different game plans from the first time to the second time. And it's going to be a defense. It's going to be a good old fashioned Ravens football game. Rely on the defense, rely on the run game, rely on the tight ends. And in that game, in last week's game, Isaiah Likely had over 100 yards. Isaiah Likely is a wide receiver trapped in a tight end's body. So for those complaining about the Ravens didn't draft a receiver, they drafted one. His name was Isaiah Likely. Charlie Kolar had a few nice catches. He looked, like I said last week, looked very much like Dennis Pitta. So having those two plus Mark Andrews coming back, that's going to help. I know the Bengals are good at defending against tight ends, but these are some of the more athletic tight ends in the NFL. Plus, with the run,
Mhm.
they could take advantage of that. Sammy Watkins can make a few big plays. Demarcus Robinson can make a few big plays here and there. Um, like you said, it's any given Sunday. Can the Ravens beat the Bengals? Sure. Will they? I'm not going to go make a prediction. I think it's going to be tough on that one. But I mean, I will say this: if the Ravens do win, I'm holding back on a few things I want to say about Cincinnati. I'm going to wait till next week. All I'm going to say,
Jamar
all,
Chase is talking a lot of crap coming into this one, but continue. Keep going. Keep going.
all I'm going to say is I've seen Charmin tissue tougher than some of these Bengals players, especially after last week. Especially after last week, because you had Bengals fans say, "Oh, the Ravens touched them too hard or tackled them too hard," when they really didn't. Like there was like a clean hit that was aggressive, like the Tremaine Edmonds hit, in the Dolphins Bills game earlier today, like that type of hit. And then there was even someone saying, "Well, look how disrespectful Roquan Smith was when he bounced the ball away from Jamar Chase. Like the play was over. Roquan Smith got the ball, bounced it away, and they were saying, "Oh, he was classless for it." They were spouting off all of that, and I just love like Roquan and PQ saying stuff like, "Oh, we'll see you Sunday. Like you want to talk, we'll see you Sunday." So it is going to be really interesting. I do kind of hope that the Ravens do win. Like obviously to advance, but second, just the way that the Bengals have been acting the last couple weeks, like they've been caught up in their feelings, and it'll be really nice to see them getting humbled. But yeah, I mean the Giants Vikings game, there really isn't too much to talk about there. Then you got the Cowboys and uh, the Buccaneers game. What are your thoughts on that game?
That should be a really intriguing game. Earlier this season, the Bucks actually went to Dallas and beat them 19-3. Different circumstance. Remember, Dak got
Yep.
hurt in that game. But this one should be, I think it's going to be a lot closer than some people expect. The Bucks have been bad this year. Their offense has been brutal. Byron Leftwich's play calling has been bad. Brady's been fine, but you can see the rust is a bit there with him. It's just, I think it's mainly their situational play calling has been bad, but this is still a team that can do some damage. They're just poorly coached. I don't think Todd Bowles is that good. But Dallas, they have a very good offense. Dak Prescott is very good. Zeke and Tony Pollard, I think that's the best running back tandem in the league. They have receivers that can burn you. Dalton Schultz at tight end. The Bucks, Leonard Fournette, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. I mean, Godwin's had a tough year, I think. Evans has been great as usual. But, I think it's really going to come down to the coaching in this one. Mike McCarthy, outside of that one Super Bowl run, has not been that good in the playoffs. It's funny. Jerry Jones has said even if the Cowboys lose this game, Mike McCarthy's job is safe. Should that be the case with Sean Payton out there? Because Payton, I'm sure, would jump at the opportunity to coach the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh yeah.
Sure. Just go watch Home Team on Netflix if you want to see his thoughts on the Dallas Cowboys. But this game, I think it's going to be close. There's also the possibility that this could be Brady's last game in Tampa Bay and not Brady's last game overall, though, he's a free agent. He'll have his own decision to make. We'll have to see. I'm excited for this one. I think it's going to be a really fun game, and I would like to see the tears of Skip Bayless and if they lose the Cowboys, that is, and see Uncle Shannon dunk on him. And then Stephen A. Smith on Twitter is always hilarious when it comes to the Cowboys. But what do you think going into this one?
Yeah, I think one of the things about this game, I mean, this game, you would think Cowboys versus Tom Brady would be exciting. It's definitely one of the more underwhelming games, like underwhelming matchups out there for sure. I agree with you. I don't think that Mike McCarthy's job security should be safe even if he wins. I think that Jerry Jones is always looking for a splash headline. So and like how long has McCarthy been the coach for the Cowboys? And in typical Cowboys fashion, if they were to lose tomorrow, in typical Cowboys fashion, he would have one, maybe two playoff wins in 3 years. So
Mike McCarthy?
Yeah, like 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 as a Cowboys coach. Like,
Oh yeah.
so I don't know, like, and I think it was I think it was Stephen A. or I think it might have been Stephen A. He was saying like he was basically, I think it was Stephen A. said something how Jason Garrett was truly a cowboy, and so he was so entrenched with Jerry Jones that Jason Garrett had a very long leash. Don't anticipate that leash being there for Mike McCarthy. This is Jerry Jones wanting to be right, that he picked the right coach, and if there's an upgrade, I think he'll make that upgrade no matter what. But then again, Dan Quinn is looking for head coaching jobs.
Denver
Kellen Moore,
especially.
yeah, Kellen Moore potentially as well. So we'll see what it looks like there. So that's gonna be a fact. That's gonna factor into it. Uh, look, Brady is 45 years old, but could he have a few more? Could he have a few more magic in him? Maybe. But you're right. Like, this game's the matchup's underwhelming, but the reaction's gonna be entertaining because
Yes.
it's either going to be, if they lose, Stephen A. Smith is going to turn into the Joker. Yep.
Whoever loses is just gonna, it's just reality gold on Twitter. They're like the Bucks lose. Oh, is this Tom Brady's last game? Oh, Tom Brady
Yeah.
maybe goes out a loser. If the Cowboys lose, Stephen A. Smith turns into the Joker and Skip Bayless cries on Twitter.
Yep. Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna go to college. We're gonna talk briefly about the college football championship game. There really isn't much to talk about.
What's there to discuss?
Georgia just took TCU on his backside and just kept hitting their ass with a paddle a thousand times. That's what it felt like. I texted you this when during the game. Once it was a blowout, I was literally only watching for the Ant-Man trailer. Like, once the Ant-Man trailer ended, I stopped watching. Like, 65-7. It was a bad call. It was a bad one. It was very clearly a man amongst boys. Like, you could tell, like, Georgia was, and you could tell, like, Kirby Smart, when he had that mentality. He was not trying to play it safe. He was just kept trying to score and score and score. I mean, we saw the backup quarterback for Georgia. We saw, like, this was not a good. This was like, do you think TCU can recover from this, or?
I think so. Waiting to see if the Giants just get another touchdown here, but I mean they're going to be good again next year. But are they going to be this good? Probably not. Sonny Dykes did a great job. Their recruiting, I think, is gonna skyrocket as well. Is Duggan coming back next year, D? Is
I
he?
I'll check, but
I think he is. I don't think he declared for the draft. At least that's not what I remember. I thought he has one other year of eligibility left. As long as he is there, they're going to be a threat to make the playoff again. I just don't think they're going to go undefeated again. Undefeated. They lost to Kansas State, but in the Big 12 championship game. So
no, he declared for a draft. He declared for a draft.
Oh, he did. Oh, I must have totally missed it. Oh, wow, the Giants just did the Statue of Liberty play, which I have not seen since Boise State ran it. But yeah, my apologies on that. I forgot that he did declare. So him leaving, that is big. I just don't think they're going to be a team that only loses one game next year or has an undefeated regular season. They're going to be a tough out, but I think they're due for some regression next year.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken right now, Max Duggan might go to the NFL. You want to take a guess who's still going to be the quarterback of Georgia next year?
Yeah.
Stetson Bennett.
I thought he was out of eligibility.
Oh my god! I believe
I'm pretty sure he's out of eligibility.
I could double check that.
I think he graduated. He's done.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's
It
done.
would be insane. It would be insane if he was still allowed.
It would be,
for
yes.
that, but yeah. So and then we're gonna end the show with some just more more baseball news. Carlos Correa signs with the Twins, 6 years, 200. What was your reaction to that deal?
I mean, he goes back to the team that he played for last season. They didn't find anything wrong in his physical. So I don't know what's going on with that stuff with other teams and finding problems. I guess he's fine overall. Really, there's really not much with the Nationals overall. They did sign Corey Dickerson, I believe, to a 1-year deal. That's a nice little left-handed bat that they can use as a DH, or he can start some games and stuff like that. They did sign Juan Soto's little brother today. He's 17 years old to a minor league contract, so he'll be in their system. Maybe they'll hope that he'll be as good as his older brother one day. But in terms of Correa, I'm glad that saga's over. Rest in peace to the Mets with that one. Thank God that's not happening. But, just glad it's over, to be honest.
Yeah, and then also, I think what happened with that one was apparently the same doctor from the Giants that declared him failed because of his ankle. The same ankle specialist was testing him for the Mets. So it was something really weird going on there. But yeah, it's definitely embarrassing. It's definitely embarrassing for the Mets because again, this is why you don't say you signed someone before you signed someone. Because what happened? Carlos Correa isn't going to play third base for the Mets next year. So that's the other thing, though. And he makes the Twins better. I don't know if the Twins are favorites in the AL Central, but it's gonna be interesting there. Trey Mancini, 2-year deal with the Chicago Cubs, 2 years, $14 million. Opt out after one if he hits 300. He can opt out if he hits 358. If he has 350 plate appearances, so good on him. It is also really weird with the Cubs because they went out and got Eric Hosmer. You got Trey Mancini. Both are kind of DH first base types. They have another prospect there. They went out and got Cody Bell. They went out and got Bellinger. It is getting Hosmer and Mancini is a little weird unless you are going to platoon them.
Yeah.
But it makes sense because you're paying this year Mancini and Hosmer combined $7.5 million. The Orioles they went out and this was their international signing. They had their it was headlined by the 16-year-old shortstop, and they got him for $2.3 million, which is a record for the Orioles. But he's so again, and then a few others like. This is how good this kid is. The next highest guy they signed was for $500,000. So it was $2.3 million and then $500,000. That's how good they felt about this kid. That they didn't have multiple million signings. But hey, if this kid turns out to be a potential Jeremy Pena type player, whether he's on the team or not, again, we'll see with these international guys. We'll see in about a year. We'll see in about 4 or 5 years. But yeah, you're right. The Nationals did go out and sign Juan Soto's brother, so that was something. That I knew. That was known. But it was good of the Nationals to go and bring him in. It was good, especially even after losing Juan Soto. So it is good to see them there. All right, so we'll end the show on that note. Next week we'll talk about the divisional round of the NFL playoffs.
Yeah.
We'll preview potentially the conference championship game and any other news that we get that we hear back from.
Yeah, that sounds good. We'll see you all next week. Enjoy the Super Wildcard weekend.